So today we are going to use this math tool called a geoboard, and in this case it's a virtual geoboard to create some of the shapes that we talked about yesterday. Generally, our geoboards are plastic and we can hold them and we can touch them and we can use rubber bands to form different shapes. But today, everything you're going to do with your geoboard is going to be online. And so I'm going to just go over some quick details about how you can use this geoboard to create some of the shapes we talked about yesterday. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to make this geoboard look a little bit larger. And the way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to choose this option right here. It gives us a lot more dots to hang our rubber bands on. The first thing I want you to think about yesterday are some of the shapes that we discussed. And starting with our triangle and then moving to our rectangle and square and pentagon and hexagon, we're going to create all of those different shapes. And hopefully you're going to be able to add some labels and some markings to help us to understand what those shapes are. So you can really choose any color rubber band that you'd like to. It's really completely up to you. The thing you need to know about the rubber bands is I started off having a little bit of trouble with this because I would simply click on the rubber band and that does nothing. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to actually click on and drag the rubber band like this. And let's say that we're going to start off by making a triangle. I can make it as long as I want it to be. And I just put it on there and then I just start to move these sides where I want them to be. Now yesterday we talked about a lot about defining attributes that are true of shapes no matter what, always true of shapes. So you can see that I created my triangle here, and you can also see that, as always, one of the defining attributes of a triangle is that it always has three sides and it always has three corners. And what I want you to do today is to be able to label and mark up the triangle to prove that. So the next thing you'll be able to do is you're going to grab the pencil, and I'm going to actually grab the straight line pen over here to begin with. You can sort of move back and forth between the straight line and the freehand, but for the different sides I like to use the straight line. And I'm going to change my color up here. I'm going to use green. And I'm just going to come over here and I'm going to mark this shape up so that you know for sure it's a triangle. We have 1, 2, 3 sides. I'm going to pop back over here to my other pen and I'm going to actually circle the corners. 1, 2, 3. Now remember, corners are where those two sides come together and they meet. So in this case, our triangle has 3. In every case, a triangle has 3 corners and 3 sides. Now, this could be a little tricky. If this frustrates you, just leave it be. I'm going to grab the freehand pen and I'm going to try my best, let's try it again, to actually write the name of this. Triangle. And like I said, if this is too much, because it can even be a little frustrating for me sometimes, you can simply write T in the center and we'll know what that is. The next shape that you would create would be a square. The next one would be a rectangle. The next one would be a pentagon. And the next one would be a hexagon. Now, we also study circles in first grade. However, if you want to get out of this pen option, just exit out. However, you cannot make a circle no matter how hard you try on this geoboard, because when we put the rubber band from segment to segment or from dot to dot, it makes a line there. So that means that we cannot create a circle because circles have no lines within them. They have no sides and no corners. So that shape you will not be able to create today, but that's okay. One thing I do want to check out real quick before we move on is when I press back on that pen it comes back up with our markings. I just wanted to make sure that would happen. So when you complete all of your different shapes, I would like you to either take a screenshot. If you're working on your iPad, you know that's real easy to do by pressing the home button and pressing the button on the side to take a screenshot. You can upload it to our Google Classroom. If that's too hard, you can have mom or dad take a picture of the screen with a camera with their iPhone or something like that, and they can upload that to Google Classroom. If you can't do any of those, that's okay. Just explore, practice with this geoboard, practice the idea of creating all different types of shapes based on those defining attributes of corners and sides.